Let's get to a little bit of Carson Beck, right? Do you think Carson Beck will work at Miami? So I think this is an interesting move because they're losing a lot, and obviously lose Cam Ward, and you bring in a Carson Beck type guy. Is Miami going to be able a couple things? Like for this to work, Miami's gonna have to improve on defense. And this is not even just about, hey, in the playoff and whatnot. Like the ACC, I mean, they had a couple close losses because they got shut down for a bit and their defense held in some of those games. But man, most of the year they're getting dog walked. And Miami will be favored in a majority of their games next season when you look at who they've got. They're going to have a really good chance at going 11-1, at going 10-2. They play Notre Dame next year, but that's not a conference game. They avoid Clemson. They play Florida State next year as well. So as they always do. But is there anybody else on the ACC agenda on the roster and on the schedule for them that you're really worried about? I don't really know if there is. And you see that Miami 2025 football schedule, not seeing a ton there that warrants being worried about in conference. Yes, you have Notre Dame to open up the year. And the first 4 games actually are all at home. You don't leave the state of Florida until they don't have the schedule set here. But, I mean, yeah, on the road, you've got SMU. Could be a tough game. At Pitt, could be a tough game. Virginia Tech, that was a tough game this year, but I think they're a better team. They've got Syracuse at home. They've got Stanford at home. They've got NC State at home. They've got Louisville at home. They've got FSU on the road. And they've got Florida, USF, Bethune-Cookman, and Notre Dame. So it's like they're playing a bunch of bad teams. Florida, tough game. But in ACC play, you're not overly concerned about what they're facing off against. And that's what matters to get yourself a chance in the ACC championship and then ultimately get yourself a chance to get a bye and into the college football playoff. That's what really matters. The big thing is their defense going to be a lot better. Can they retool the personnel to make the defense better? And also, who are going to be their weapons next year? They're going to have to get these guys. I mean, at wide receiver, they were like incredibly old, right? Xavier Restrepo, I believe, I think he's out of eligibility. I'm not totally positive. But they were pretty old at wide receiver. They should be able to import some guys in, but are they going to be able to keep refining that offense? Up front, they were pretty good last year. To me, Carson Beck, the big key is like, are you just going there because your girlfriend goes there and you need to change the scenery? Is it a combination of things? Is it going to make you happier to be there? Is this really what's the best thing for you? I think there's a chance Carson Beck could have gone to the NFL and still gotten drafted pretty high because of how weak the draft class is and how desperate teams typically are for quarterback. I mean, if you think about the NFL right now, and you think about like the teams, you just look across the league. Let's see, like Miami might need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. Patriots have theirs. Pittsburgh's going to need a quarterback. It looks like the Browns eventually will. I mean, they're not doing well with what they've got there. The Colts might be turning the page at quarterback. See how long Trevor Lawrence has. The Titans need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback. The Cowboys might need a quarterback. We'll see there. The NFC North teams, we'll see what happens in that one. They're going to keep one of those two guys. The Saints need a quarterback. The Rams will need one here pretty soon, right? The Seahawks will need one pretty soon. 49ers might need one pretty soon. The Cardinals might need one pretty soon. I mean, there were places and situations for Carson Beck to be. He's going to have to play really well next year, in my opinion, for him to end up getting where he wants to be in terms of NFL draft grade. He's going to have to play really good football next year. And I don't know if he's got that quality of football in him to get to that level. We'll see. A little bit easier competition. We see guys go other places outside the Southeastern Conference and thrive. But I've got questions about Carson Beck upstairs. He had a couple 3-pick games this year, right? Luckily for him, they won those 3-pick games. But man, it was not always a pretty picture for Carson Beck. And look, part of that was team construction. Georgia was not especially good at wide receiver. And they were, especially compared to 2023 Georgia, they weren't that good at wide receiver. So I think Miami's a good spot because they're so good. I don't know how good Carson Beck is going to be. Like this year, when you watched Cam Ward, he was legit good. There was not like ACC good. He was just good. He was great. Can Carson Beck ride the coattails maybe of the ACC being down to look better? But here's the thing. Bo Nix went to the Pac-12 and things got better for him. And look at him now. And they lost yesterday, but still, Bo Nix, playoff quarterback, all that stuff. So there's a potential that this does work in that way, or it could elevate him because he's playing at a lower level. We'll see, but hopefully he's, life happy, and hopefully Carson Beck can be football happy as well. All right, that will do it for today's show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Josh Neighbors _. I'm at, NWPod365. At CC Podcast JN. Like the video, sub the channel, like everything else. Appreciate you all following us. We'll talk at you all mañana.
We are Rogue Media Sports.